What's going on, guys? It's Adam P, and welcome back to Newcastle United News. Hope everyone is doing well today, and I feel like everyone's in a good mood. Good win against Wolves yesterday. A game of two halves, I would say, in terms of a Newcastle United performance. First half, brilliant. Second half, a bit of a nail biter, but we got there in the end. And finally, a performance has turned into points. It's been the story all season long. Performances enough there in every single game to win every single game, but this is actually our first win of the season. We haven't won in the Premier League since Chelsea. You're talking, April, May time? Like, that's how long it's been. It's been a long time since we've won, so we've got that win now. Nick Voldemort on his debut heads it in there, and we have scored with a striker. We look ahead to Barcelona now, and of course, before we get into the news today, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, join the 45% who are already on the journey watching my videos, who are subscribed, so you don't miss out on the upcoming Newcastle United news, and you will be notified the second my video goes live. Starting off with the striker situation, Yoane Wissa, of course, missed the game yesterday, and it was described on Thursday originally from Craig Court. He just came back from international break. He's going to be fine. He'll be training tomorrow as we head towards the Wolves game. That obviously wasn't the case. Eddie Howe then confirmed in the press conference on Friday that Wissa is injured for a number of weeks. And when you first originally hear weeks, of course, plural, you imagine him, while it's an extended injury, nothing more than a month. However, that's not the case. 5 to 6 weeks has now been described by Keith Downey. It is not an ACL rupture, so we at least have a situation where the player hasn't physically torn any part of his knee, but more so timeout. And you're talking coming back after the next international break. That's the initial deadline for the player to come back. And the issue being, back at the end of October, by the time he gets back, about a month or so, and then he's off to the African Cup of Nations. So no, look, he'll go out to DR Congo and he'll get injured again for DR Congo. So you've got a situation where you spent upwards of £55 million in a striker who is going to be barely playing for Newcastle this season. And I feel like with our striker situation, while things are fine enough now, you even seen yesterday with Bruno Silva on again for 30 minutes. Of course, we're playing 3 times this week. You can't have Nick Voldemort on there every single minute of the game. So even then, William Osua came on. You can just see Newcastle's attacking threat straight away just diminish. We just had nothing in the second half, especially when we subbed off Nick Voldemort. So our striker situation now, you're a suspension, an injury, or a disaster away from the exact same scenario that we had before transfer deadline day. And it's a bit unfortunate and a bit ironic as well, because both Yoane Wissa and Strand Larsen, both players Newcastle were tracking, and both players who taught their football clubs they wanted to join Newcastle towards the end of the transfer window. Both players were injured yesterday, so both players would have missed the game. And it's just ironic. No matter what striker Newcastle went for, both of them would have been injured yesterday, which is just so weird and such a bizarre transfer saga that was just meant to throughout the summer. We got Yoane Wissa in the end, and I'm pleased that we have got him in the end. It's just a sense of annoyance and a sense of frustration. The 5 to 6 weeks out, having out in international duty, then we all know he's going out on a long international duty towards the end of January for the African Cup of Nations. So Newcastle's got a real situation where Nick Voldemort is effectively your only striker for the majority of the season. William Osua, yes, is a striker, but I still wouldn't have him in the deep end like that. He still needs time to develop, and it could honestly be a situation where Newcastle in January might have to sign a short-term striker, like a Vardy-esque player. I know we're not going to get Vardy because he's out of a different club now, but a Vardy-esque player where you're just getting someone in short-term just to make sure we've got some cover. And it's just annoying. I think the whole situation is just annoying. And speaking of injuries, we're going to Barcelona because Lamine Yamal missed the game yesterday. He has not trained at all. He's got real discomfort. He hasn't returned to play or train at all. And it's now a real possibility that he will miss the Newcastle United's match on Thursday. Now, with Barcelona, and especially Spanish teams, they always declare their Champions League squad 24 hours in advance. And of course, with Barcelona travelling over to Newcastle, I would imagine on the Tuesday night, because they train at the stadium, they do their bits and bobs media-wise on the Wednesday. So you'll know on Wednesday if he's in the squad or not. Like, it's not even like, will he start on Thursday? You will physically know more than 24 hours before the game if he's even there in the first place. And indications and the situation heavily implies that he won't be there. He hasn't trained today. He hasn't trained yesterday. He hasn't played yesterday. It was a player that hasn't trained or played at all for the start of their season. And you wouldn't throw him in the deep end in the Newcastle game. And I would say for Barcelona, it feels incredible saying this, but it's a real nightmare for them going to St James's Park without their top player. I know Barcelona's got top players everywhere on the pitch. PSG found out the hard way 2 years ago. Barcelona will know, especially going to St James's Park, the atmosphere is going to be bounced and it's going to be a horrible game for them. And without Lamine Yamal, they're in trouble. I actually think they are in trouble. I think Newcastle, especially when you got Gordon back in the team, Gordon, Alanga, Voldemort in the front three, then that class midfield, that class back line behind them, Barca's in trouble. I actually think Newcastle's team is going to be top quality against them on Thursday, and of course, especially attacking wise, the depth on the bench is not exactly there without Yoane, Wissa. But team certainly is there. That start 11's good, and that start 11 will get into them, and I'm confident. I'm actually quite confident for that game. I feel, ironically, the Bournemouth game on Sunday is actually the one I'm a bit more worried about. I reckon Bournemouth have caught us at a brilliant time because they know we're going to put everything into the Barcelona game. And historically, we always play crap at Bournemouth away anyway. So I actually feel like Bournemouth probably have us at a good time and they might beat us. I actually think they've got a good chance of just taking 3 points off us and just catching us out when we are a bit tired and leggy. We'll see what happens on Sunday. But Barcelona, though, I'm confident for that game. Get into them, take it to them, and especially for this new Champions League format, start it off with a result against Barcelona and you're looking good straight away. They're getting into the knockout stage. For some reason, Sky Sports have actually used Alex Murphy as our promo player for the Wolves game. They've got Stratton Lawson, who's injured, and they've got Alex Murphy, who's basically a youth player. He sits on Newcastle's bench. He never plays for Newcastle, and they're the 2 promo players ahead of the game. I don't know why I want to mention this in the video, but I just feel like Alex Murphy, like, why would you ever pick him to be the promo player? Bear in mind, have you seen the state of our squad? Sergio Tonali, my word, one of the best midfielders you would have to see on the planet at the minute. His performances are ridiculously good. And I know I'm a younger Newcastle fan, but I feel like even all the Newcastle fans watching this video, is he the best midfielder you've ever seen at Newcastle? He's got to be up there. I think performance-wise, he has to be up there. He is ridiculously good. And again yesterday, top qualities. I wanted to finish this video off by saying that once again, Jonas Gutierrez was at the game yesterday. So he's coming across to Newcastle on a more frequent basis now. And I'm quite happy to see that because I think especially since Gutierrez left the club and the way that Newcastle did it as well, calling the guy up after he kept us in the Premier League, after he's just beat cancer, going, well, we're going to release you, we're not going to renew your contract, going for the legal battles behind the scenes. It's quite horrific looking on as a fan because we can't do anything about it, but you see this poor bloke here just getting treated so badly. So to see him come back to Newcastle now on a frequent basis, clearly engaged with the club, he's clearly wanting to be back at the football club, and I think it's a nice story to finish the video off with. I'm glad that he's happy. I'm glad that he's back in Newcastle. And I'm glad now he feels like he belongs to the football club, especially with Gutierrez a few years ago. That wasn't the case at all. He was quite distant from the club, had a lot of, you'd imagine, pent-up anger and just frustration towards how things have went. So to see him have this happy return now, to see him going to the games on a regular basis, I think it's nice to see. And of course, Newcastle actually appreciating and respecting their legends now. And I feel like if you speak to any ex-Newcastle player, and most former players will probably speak about how much better things are now in terms of how the club actually treats former players. So, yeah, I wanted to finish off like that. Good to see him back. Hope he's happy. And I don't know if he's living in Newcastle now because he seems to be coming back to Newcastle quite a lot. But certainly a player who is engaged, back on Tyneside and is enjoying his time watching the game. So, good on him. And I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Not much else need to say today. It's just the injury updates, really. The Yamal stuff, the Wissa stuff, and just going through and talking about bits and bobs of the game. Good result in the end. Nail-biting second half. But I felt like the first half, we've done enough to win the game. Probably should have been 2 up in the first half, I felt like. Wolves with a few chances in there. But nothing decisive enough outside of the first minute. And Newcastle were just on them possession-wise. On them in terms of chances, just weren't that clinical. Got to take chances. But that's about it. Take care. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you all in the next one.